Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening... No, it's a big, weird, wild world out there, folks. And here we stand, al pie del cañón, ready for anything. I'm Rob, that's Dan, and you're listening to...
The ProBoh Show!
Good morning, everyone. It's 8:30 a.m. Central European Time, and you're listening to me and Dan live on this, the 3rd of July. It's Friday!
It's Friday!
Oh, yeah. That's right, boys and girls. We are here. The gateway to the weekend is open before us. There we step through. Well, possibly at around 5 p.m., right? What are the plans for the weekend, Daniel?
I don't have any plans for this weekend.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Oh, congratulations. Congratulations, man. No movies, no concerts?
No, not this time.
No, you're just gonna chill out at home.
Yes.
Play some video games. Me too.
I guess.
That's my. Well, no, it depends on if Sophie abides. But my plan is to play a few video games, chill out. Tonight I'm doing a whiskey tasting. The other day when Dan said that I was searching for alcohol at 7 a.m. that was actually true. I was searching for whiskeys for tonight's whiskey tasting. I got Japanese whiskey in the end. Very expensive. For a bottle the size of, how would I describe it? It's like a bottle of cologne. So let's see. I mean, I don't know. It's apparently very, very strong. So we'll see. I'm not much of a whiskey connoisseur, but I'll have a lot of fun tonight with Chris, Frank, Fitz, and the rest of the gang. Let's see who's joining us live in the audience. We have Vero here. Good morning, beautiful bohemians around the universe and beyond. Good morning, Vero. It is indeed Friday. Artemisa's here. Good morning, Rob, Dan, the radio man, and all the cheerful, charming bohemians. Happy Friday to everyone. Happy Friday to you too. Oh my God. If you want to be as cool, as sexy, as charming, as influential, as impactful, as intellectual as our wonderful bohemians, you can join us live in the audience at twitch.tv twitch.tv. Did I say that right? I always doubt once I finished. twitch.tv Bohemio Profesional, pero en inglés. Professional Bohemian. You can also interact with the shows outside of our lifetimes. You do that on my Instagram, which is @professionalbohemian. And if you're extra especially cool, sexy, charming, and all those good things, you can join me on my Patreon, where you get access to all the good stuff that I do outside of just the radio. There's a lot of original series there that you can enjoy. Anyway, who else is with us? We've got Mike here. Good morning, dear bohemians. It's Friday. Ah, yeah. And Mr. Cruzando says, good morning, guys. Dan, where did you get the It's Friday? Oh, yeah. Where does that come from?
From a mix of two audios of Pixabay.
Okay. It's very good. All right, anyway, shall we see what's coming up in today's show? We're going to talk about nostalgia today. Yeah, we're going to talk about nostalgia today, I think. Today's 100 Humans question is, name something that makes someone feel nostalgic. Yeah, name something that makes someone or makes a person feel nostalgic. Yeah, kind of a nostalgia-heavy show today. And today's unpopular opinion is, things were better in the good old days. Which I don't think you have a direct translation for in Spanish. Las cosas eran mejores en los viejos tiempos. The reason I say you don't have a good translation is because of the word good. The good old days is a frase hecha that means it almost means that things were better before. Just the good old days. In the good old days, we wouldn't do that. Los buenos viejos tiempos, maybe you would say, but it's not a frase hecha here in Spain. So I guess the inertia of that sentence is towards the positive, saying that the good old days were, well, good, better than today. But is that true or not? Well, we'll dig into that in today's unpopular opinion. But first of all, let's go to some news. By the way, I did find some news about Cabo Verde, Dan. Are you interested? Of course you're interested. Are they playing tonight or Saturday? I read somewhere that it was tonight or
I think
Friday.
it's tonight at 12.
Well, technically Saturday then, isn't it? But yeah, really tonight. Cape Verde's World Cup success reflects a nation that has repeatedly defied the odds. Surprisingly enough, this is coming from the conversation. El éxito de Cabo Verde en el Mundial refleja una nación que ha desafiado las probabilidades una y otra vez. Cape Verde's World Cup run is more than football fairy tale with just over 500,000 people spread across 10 islands. The country has once again shown a remarkable ability to outperform expectations. Yeah, we are official supporters of Cape Verde on this on this show. As you know, Dave and I have already been kicked out of the Grupo Von sweepstakes. Dan is the only one of us that remains with Cabo Verde. Let's see. Their success is reaching the knockout stage, including a draw against Spain, reflects a much deeper national story with a small Atlantic archipelago that has repeatedly overcome colonial exploitation, economic hardship, drought, and predictions that it was too small and too poor to thrive on its own. And look at them. Look at them. El tiempo pasado siempre fue mejor. That's what we say, says Artemisa. Cualquier tiempo pasado siempre fue mejor.
Vaya nivelazo.
Thank you, Dan. Look at you. You're on fire. Yeah. But is it true? Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. So there you go. We're all pulling for Cape Verde tonight at 12. Let's see. What are their chances of winning, Dan, for Daniel in there?
None.
None. Does Messi... there is a really important player, right, in Argentina. Which one is it? Is it Messi? Is it... I don't know. There's one, anyway, that everyone bangs on about. He's supposed to be very famous, but because I don't watch football. Who is it? Who's the Argentinian player, Dan?
I think it's Messi.
Is it Messi?
I think so, yes.
All right. Well, screw you, Messi. We're pulling for... Does he play for Real Madrid? Is that the thing?
I know. No. I mean, I know it's their rival, but I don't know.
Okay. Well, he plays for some football team. We don't care anyway. We're 100% Cape Verde on this show. Anyway, let's get into some actual news, shall we? While we're talking about nostalgia, let's dive into an article from Psychology Today. Music has a strange power to send us back in time. This article says, why music makes us so nostalgic. ¿Por qué la música nos hace sentir tanta nostalgia? Music has a strange power to send us back in time. One song can instantly reconnect us with childhood, first love, heartbreak, freedom, or a version of ourselves we had almost forgotten. That is why music triggers nostalgia so strongly. It does not just remind us of the past. It makes us feel vivid again. Research suggests nostalgic music can strengthen self-continuity, helping us feel more connected to who we were, who we are, and who we are still becoming. But nostalgic music is not only sentimental, it can also be therapeutic. It can help us process sadness, grief, anxiety, longing, while bringing old feelings of meaning, safety, playfulness, or joy back to the present. Dan, is there a song in particular that takes you back to your youth? For me, for example, whenever I hear Iron Maiden's Fear of the Dark, I get transported back to a 16-year-old in my bedroom, jumping around, playing air guitar. When I hear Bob Dylan, I think about being at university writing my dissertation. Are there any artists or songs that transport you back to a different time?
Right now, I cannot think of any of them.
But there must be, right? I suppose you're still quite young. Well, maybe the music you're listening to now is the music that will take you back to this time.
I guess so, in a few years. Maybe.
In a few years. Bless him. 22 years young. Nostalgic music, anyway, is not only sentimental, but can be therapeutic, it says. Studies have also linked music-evoked nostalgia with stronger memory recall and greater emotional well-being, including for people with dementia. In that sense, an old song is more than a memory trigger. It is a bridge between the past and present, and sometimes a way of recovering what feels missing now. I've got to admit, a lot of my music diet now. In fact, tell me this. If you've got, if you have a song, a track that takes you back in time in the chat, tell me. I'd be interested in hearing. And tell me if this rings true for you, listeners. Particularly our podcast listeners. That'd be interesting. Write to me on Instagram. How much of your music diet has now been consumed by listening to podcasts? It's a tough one, because for me, I think almost all of my music listening time is now consumed by listening to podcasts. There used to be a time where I would listen to music almost constantly. But now, on my walk to work, when I'm getting ready for work, when while I'm pottering around the house, 9 times out of 10 it's a podcast. Do you listen to any podcasts, Dan, or is it just music for you?
Yeah, it's music.
No podcast you listen to, other than the ProBoh Show and the Lunchtime Show, because when you're not here. Yeah, for me it is, and I don't know. It's kind of sad in a way, because when I do play a track, it does transport me vividly back to a different time, a different place. Interesting. Anyway, friends, so let me know on Instagram your thoughts and feelings with regards to that, and let's go to today's unpopular opinion.
Unpopular opinion.
Okay, I'm going to leave a little extra time for our unpopular opinion today, because it's a juicy one, friends. Things were better in the good old days. Las cosas eran mejores en los viejos tiempos, or the translation that Mike and Artemisa give me. Cualquier tiempo pasado fue mejor. It's a tough one. Is this nostalgia? Is this just us painting the past with rose-tinted glasses, or is there some truth to this? How do you think they voted on Instagram, Dan?
I think they voted false.
You think they voted false? They actually voted true, man. 70% of people, a lot of people voted. 70% of them voted, oh wait, it's changed. 70, oh God. But people are voting as I'm speaking. 71% said true. 29% say false. What's your feeling? Do you think the past was better?
I think it's false as well.
Do you think things are better now? I'd be inclined to agree with you. I mean, look, it depends on what metric, right? Here, this is not really about which is better. I think there's quite a lot of subjectivity, but it's about the metrics of which we judge society, and how the grass is always greener on the other side. How we tend to see what we don't have as more valuable. Scarcity creates value, doesn't it? I mean, look, global life expectancy in 1900, you'd live around 32 years old. Now I think the average life expectancy is about 73, I think. You know, people live much longer almost everywhere. Extreme poverty. In 1990, about 2.3 billion people lived in extreme poverty. That's now almost slashed in half. 831 million people in 2025. Child mortality, 93.5 deaths per 1,000 live births in 1990. That's down to 37.4 in 2024. Literacy, adult literacy was 81% in the year 2000. Now it's 87%. Violence in Europe. I mean, look, just go back to medieval Europe, where homicide rates were around 10, were often over 10 per 100,000 and much higher in some places. That's around 1 per 100,000 today. So on what metric were things better in the good old days, when people lived better? They're more literate now. There are fewer people in extreme poverty. Child mortality has been slashed. Less violence. In what metric are you judging that things were better in the past? I mean, I think the thing is, better depends on what you measure, right? mental health, loneliness, housing affordability, climate risk, political polarization, inequality in some countries, and trust in institutions are all really serious problems that we're facing right now. Democracy has also been weakening recently in many countries. So maybe the phrasing is, the present is not better because it feels better. It's better because fewer people die young, fewer people starve, more people can read, more diseases are treatable, far more people have legal and social freedoms than many in the entre comillas, in inverted commas, good old days. Or is it that the good old days were good for people who were lucky enough not to be born poor, sick, female, gay, disabled, colonized, non-white, or born before antibiotics? Is that it? Is that the good old days? Because you weren't in a minority group? Because you were lucky enough not to be sick? Or female? Or gay? Or disabled? Or colonized? Non-white? I mean, the good old days, when you really dig into it, didn't really exist. It's like that mirage on the motorway, right? That you can never quite reach. Or is it? As I said before, 71% voted true today. So let's get into the pro column. Life felt simpler. Fewer screens, fewer notifications, less constant information made daily life feel slower and less mentally overloaded. But does simpler mean better? It can also mean fewer choices, fewer rights, less access to opportunity. Communities were stronger. People often knew their neighbours, relied on local networks, and had more face-to-face interaction. Yeah, but those same communities were often more judgmental, conformist, and exclusionary, right? I mean, sure, you knew your neighbours and relied on local networks, but what if you were black or gay or, you know? Work and housing were more stable. In some places, previous generations had more affordable housing, stronger pensions, and clearer career paths. Yeah, but that stability doesn't apply across the board, does it? It doesn't apply to everyone, especially women, minorities, or lower status workers. Childhood seemed freer. Children often played outside more with less screen time and experienced more independence. Yeah, but that freedom also came with less supervision, maybe more danger, less awareness of abuse or bullying. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think we do tend to wrap kids in cotton wool today, don't we? The culture felt less disposable. Music, films, television, and objects often felt more lasting because they were less constant content and consumer churn. What does that mean? So culture felt less disposable. I mean, scarcity can make things feel special, can't it? But it doesn't automatically mean they were better. I mean, were movies better in the past? I mean, rewatch some of those favourite movies from the 80s. Better is a very subjective word, friends. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I love some action movies from the 80s. Die Hard is one of my favourite movies. I do love 80s horror movies, the schlock, the gore. I love it. But is that better than modern movies like Hereditary, a great example of modern horror, or Weapons, another great example of modern horror, or modern action? Like, look at the Avengers movies. Oh my God. I think better depends on the lens in which you're looking at it, doesn't it? I mean, it does feel more disposable because media is just a swipe away, isn't it? But if we really dig in, I think better is a very subjective term when it comes to culture and how it feels disposable. And then we get into the cons, where Dan and I think myself sit. Oh, the vote has changed again as we're talking. 32% of people said false. Let's dig in. Memory edits out the bad parts. People often remember youth, freedom, and familiarity, but not the full reality of the era. Yeah, I mean, look, it's fair to say as well, just while I'm playing devil's advocate, nostalgia might exaggerate, but it still points to real things that society has lost. Privacy. A shared reality in media that we've lost. You know, those times where we'd get home from work or get to work the following day and be able to talk about the TV show that we just watched, all of us together, the night before. That shared reality is gone now. We can't even share the news anymore, which is supposed to be a dry reading of the facts, because we all get them from polarized media outlets. So what do we have left? What culture do we have left to share? Many people had fewer rights. Women, LGBTQ plus people, racial minorities, disabled people, and many others often faced far greater discrimination. True story. And I don't really have a rebuttal for that. I mean, social progress has been made on those issues. There's no rebuttal to that. Medicine and technology have improved life. Longer lifespans, better healthcare, safer transport, and instant access to knowledge are huge modern advances. Yeah, true story. I mean, look, again, to play devil's advocate, technology has also led us down some pretty dark paths, hasn't it? And we just mentioned the media landscape. You know, the fact that everyone, although more connected, feels more separate. Next point. The past was often more violent and less safe. Domestic abuse, workplace danger, war, crime, poverty were frequently worse or less openly addressed. Yeah, I mean, it's true. I feel like we have a sense that the world is more dangerous today simply because that's what people will click on. Look outside the window, though, you know? I mean, okay, there are wars going on, but look, wars have raged throughout the world since the dawn of civilization. And, you know, to play devil's advocate, some modern problems like loneliness, digital addiction are newer and keep on damaging people. Look at the psychosis caused through overuse of ChatGPT, you know? We just do keep on creating technologies that create more problems, don't we? But does that necessarily mean that the past was better? Again, better if you're a white guy that wasn't ill, maybe. Better often means better for me. People may confuse a personally happy period with an objectively better society. Here's an interesting, like personal experience matters, but if many people feel modern life is worse, that dissatisfaction should not be dismissed. No, it shouldn't. But when is happy for you? When people say the good old days, Dan, what time period do you think they're referring to?
Their own youth.
Their own youth, isn't it? I think when I think back, the good old days, I'm thinking back to the 80s, height of the Cold War. You know, political fragmentation, the privatization of industries in the UK. Dude, it was kind of a dark time too. But, of course, I don't remember that. I remember sat on my sofa watching Ghostbusters in my pajamas, freaking out because it was such a damn good movie. I remember Star Wars and playing with my toys, oh my God, because I wasn't aware of the political realities. Now, of course, houses were cheaper, weren't they? Houses were cheaper, but look, I mean, the fact of the matter still remains. What metric do you measure better? I mean, the good old days were mostly good for people who were lucky enough not to be poor, sick, female, gay, disabled, colonized, non-white, or born before antibiotics. But so what good old days are you referring to? Oh, no, not the 80s, Rob. Not the 80s. The 50s. Oh, yeah, with segregation. And yeah, great. No, I mean the 60s. Okay. I mean, it is such a nebulous and hotly disputed topic, because quite often in politics, people talk about, and when I'm saying people to avoid evoking the fury of the orange man, but they talk about, make Like, for example, make America great again. Make Europe great again. Make Britain great again. Great again. Tell me when it was so great. When on every metric society has improved. However, we don't feel it. We don't feel it. And why don't we feel it? I find that interesting. Is it because the media feeds us a diet of how dire and sad and scary the world is, when really in every measurable metric we're improving? It's a tough one, Dick. It's a tough one today. So I am going to post a poll and you guys will tell me. Today's unpopular opinion is: things were better in the good old days. Las cosas eran mejores en los viejos tiempos. True or false? I'll ask you to vote while me and Dan take a very quick break. Do not forget that we have a new Instagram account for Vaughan Radio, @VaughanRadio. And guys, I will see you in a few short minutes. Hey guys, if you'd like to support the show, you can do so on Patreon. That's patreon.com/professional bohemian. There you'll find VODs of the episodes as they are recorded live, blogs, vlogs, and behind the scenes content. If you'd like to watch the show live, you can do so on twitch.tv/professional bohemian, and you can participate in the polls we use in the show on Instagram @professional bohemian or Twitter @ProBoh, ProBoh. Okay, on with the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. You're joining us live now at 9 a.m. It's me and Dan on the 3rd of July. 21 degrees outside. It's actually quite nice. I caught the bus in today, Dan. I didn't walk in. Wop, wop, wah. No steps for Rob today. Let's see. What did you miss if you just tuned in? We looked at an interesting article here. Well, we spoke about Cape Verde because that is our latest obsession on the show. The little archipelago that is going to beat Argentina tonight at 12 p.m. 12 a.m., sorry. That's Central European time. Let's see. I hope so. I like a good underdog story. Don't you? I mean, I don't even think it's even about the football. I just want to see the little guy win the big guy. That's my thing. But we did look at an article about how music, or why music makes us feel so nostalgic. Its role in therapy and how therapeutic it can be for people. And we also released our poll into the wild here. Things were better in the good old days. True or false? That's today's unpopular opinion. You do have time still to vote. How much time? You've got 5 minutes left to vote on today's unpopular opinion. I imagine, Dan, we haven't shifted your needle at all, right?
No, I don't think nowadays times are better, but I don't think... I mean, I think they are different, but I don't think any of them is better.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a metric thing, isn't it? If you were measuring loneliness and community, right, you probably say that things were better in the past because there are more, like, people are at least feeling more isolated than before. But, I mean, that's surely not better, is it? Income inequality is worse, isn't it? You know, the poor have gotten poorer and the rich have gotten richer. Loneliness, you know. I mean, I don't know. It's a tough one because I don't honestly know how we measure. Here's what I would say. I think things feel worse, don't they? And why is that? Why do things feel worse? Why does it feel like everything's going to hell in a handbasket? I mean, certainly climate change is having its effect. That makes me feel pretty miserable when the weather is, you know, chaotic and it seems like we're all burning to death here in Europe. Is it the fact that it's not that things were better in the good old days, it's just things were better edited? There was worse recording equipment. I mean, we remember the past like an old family photo, right? Soft edges, warm colours, everyone smiling, frozen for a second in time. But the bad parts were really badly documented, badly discussed, or hidden. I mean, now we have a constant churn of communication about every negative thing that happens, don't we? You know, depression wasn't depression back then. It was just having a funny turn, you know. Domestic violence was a private matter. Racism was just how things were. Bad marriages lasted because divorce was shameful. Boredom looked like patience because there were fewer ways to admit you were bored, or at least fewer things to do about it. I mean, I don't think the past maybe had fewer problems. I think it maybe just had fewer receipts. Does that make sense? Is that ringing true to your ears? Let me know in the chat. Today feels worse, partly because modern life has become brutally honest, hasn't it? I mean, we can see every scandal play out, the minutiae of every war, every injustice, every idiot opinion, every disaster instantly and repeatedly. We see it. And not even on a TV, that the whole family crowds around. It lives in our pockets. We drag it with us every day. That doesn't mean the world is collapsing. It just means the world has CCTV built into it now. And we are the cameras. So the real comparison isn't that were people happier then or now. Would the good old days still look as good if they had smartphones and receipts like we do now? Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Because again, the good old days were great if you were a rich white man. Or more to the point, the good old days were good if you were lucky enough not to be poor, sick, female, gay, disabled, colonized, non-white, or born before antibiotics. Of course. The good old days were better if you fall into that very narrow category, right? So that's where I think I'm landing. I think we unfairly judge today or these modern times simply because we are overwhelmed with information about how bad it is. I think that's where I'm landing today. Anyway, let's get into some of the comments that you've left us here. You do still have time to vote, by the way. As I said, the vote has been shifting more on Instagram than it is among our live audience. What's going on with you guys? Come on now. Oh, hang on, wait, there are votes coming in. Sorry, my PC seems to be dying a slow death here. Anyway, let's get into some of the comments you've left me in the chat. Where are we? Okay, Mr. Cruzando says, I'd say not, but it depends on what we're talking about. My parents on one salary, my father worked in a factory, were able to buy a house within a few years, had a house in their hometown, went on holidays. Nowadays, a family with 2 salaries can't even afford a house in some cases. Yeah. There it is, isn't it? That cost of living crisis. Is it a cost of living crisis, or is it because all the wealth is tied up in the hands of a few individuals? It's an interesting one, isn't it? Is the cost of living crisis really an income inequality crisis? I think in many ways it is. But yeah, I take your point. My grandparents are the same. I was raised in large part by my grandparents. My grandfather worked in a factory, one of the last textile factories in my town. And he afforded a house, vacations for the whole family, once, twice a year. My uncles and aunts the same, worked relatively modest jobs, supported a family. And things have slowly shifted, haven't they? The flow of water has shifted. So it's hard to sit here and make an argument that things weren't better in the good old days. But again, we live longer, we're better educated. We're likely to be able to treat whatever illness may cross our path. I mean, in terms of the cost of living, I agree. Things are way worse. But in terms of length of your life, in terms of equality, I don't know. It's a tough one today because, of course, the cost of living does have a massive impact in your overall happiness. Vero says false. Every era has its good and bad things. Perfection is a balance between both. Yeah, I wonder how we'll look back on today. I often find myself daydreaming about that. When people, okay, Dan, when think about yourself as an old man. What criticism do you think kids will levy against your generation? What will they say? Because I think, right, because my generation, right, I think to myself, in the future, if I ever have grandkids, they'll come to me and they'll say, Grandpa, why did we allow the earth to get this hot? Oh, well, because we needed power, and the best way to get that power was, to dig underground and take dinosaur fossils and turn them into fuel that fuels our precarious society. We needed to do that. And they'll say to me, but it's coming out of the sky for free, the power. Why didn't you do that? Oh, because we needed to create more shareholder value, kids. And I think that's probably the biggest criticism that people of the future may point at us. And, in terms of the climate and what's happening to the world, I mean, can we really say things are better now? There's one criticism that I've heard levied. I do listen to quite a lot of UK podcasts. And of course, the UK is melting right now under these heat dome effects. And a lot of commentators are saying, well, in 1976, there was a heat wave. I mean, that heat wave is now normal. Those are normal temperatures now. They leave that out of the equation. That one isolated incident that you remember because it was so rare is now normal. These flat earthers who deny climate change just drives me up the wall. Mike here says, the one thing we can be sure about is that the good old days is that they are old. Today's terrible times are the moments we'll look back on as the good old days in a few decades. Yeah, exactly. There is nothing like nostalgia to paint everything in rose tint. We'll if you're like Dan in your 20s right now, you'll look back on these times with the Avengers and how much fun it was to, like in Dan's case, work on a radio station, oh my God, with a crazy bald guy just talking nonsense for an hour every day. And you'll look back on that and you think, wow, why was I so unhappy? That was amazing. I remember thinking, like, if I'm honest about my childhood, I remember being so bored. So bored. I'm going to play with my Legos. I'm going to read this book. I mean, there's something kids have lost. Boredom. I don't know. We look at the past through rose-tinted glasses. And especially, I think Dan's right in what he said. When we say the good old days, we tend to kind of gravitate back to when we were young. But when we were young, we are devoid of the responsibilities and the knowledge of the world as it really is. We're sheltered. Artemisa says, maybe every past era seems better simply because people used to complain less and suffer more in silence. Today, people speak up, denounce things openly, and refuse to pretend that everything is fine. Yeah. I think that's pretty accurate assessment. People suffered in silence. Racism was just the way things were. Domestic abuse, that's a private matter. We don't get involved in that. Right? Incurable, or what was incurable illness was, well, that's just the way things are. That's part of the plan, friends. I don't know. I mean, yeah, every period has its problems, doesn't it? But I think it's for the large part. I mean, we look at the income inequality right now and we say, oh my God, the world is terrible. Dudes, 100 years ago, you would have lived into your 40s and then died. What would you rather, I mean, what is, it's hard to say one thing's worse than the other. But I would certainly say I would rather live an extra 30 years and struggle buying a house. And again, if you're a regular listener of this show, you know that I'm constantly harping on about income inequality and how it's one of the major issues facing society. But, you know, I can talk about that because, you know, I'm literate, which I may not have been 100 years ago. I'm living a long and healthy life, touch wood, which I would not have been 100 years ago. You know, I made it past childhood, which I may not have 100 years ago, in a relatively peaceful society, which it wasn't 100 years ago. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one today. Let's look at some comments I received on Instagram. Let me see if I posted them right today. Yes, I did. Mark says, people remember the good parts and edit out the boredom, prejudice, and lack of options. Yeah. Yeah, because we have to. I think it's almost a survival mechanism to look at the past as better days. But the flow of water has constantly been on improving things, hasn't it? Except when it comes to the cost of living, which seems to be a barrier that no one can break. But a dam has to burst, friends. A dam has to burst because the way things are going right now paints a very dark picture. Ellie says, some things were better, honestly. Less online noise, more community, slower lives. Again, Ellie, things were better as long, you know, as you weren't LGBTQ, you know, non-white. As long as you weren't a female. I mean, things were better. Ellie, you know, the right to vote is for women is a relatively new concept in terms of human history. I mean, were things really better? I mean, sure, there was less online noisiness, but I think, you know, a lot of our attention, or a lot of the reason why we think some things are so bad nowadays is because of that online noise, isn't it? So yeah, I kind of agree in some ways, but in others, no, Ellie. Dusan Kovac says, the good old days usually mean when I personally had fewer responsibilities. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it means, isn't it? I mean, for me, the good old days were the 80s. And God, the 80s had its own problems, didn't it? Drugs ran rampant through Europe. Privatization of all the social industries. Wars, Cold War. Yeah, I mean, you know, I look back on those times and remember Lego and Indiana Jones. I don't necessarily look back on those days and think, ooh, I wonder why all my friends are protesting about labor rights. You know, I don't. Camille Renard says, nostalgia is powerful, but not the same as evidence. Yeah, it's not. I mean, look, we can't even trust ourselves. I mean, eyewitness testimony in legal trials is known to be unreliable. We can't even trust our memories going back a few weeks, let alone going back 20, 30 years, can we? Anyway, should we get to the results of the poll? I think we probably should. So I made the statement that things were better in the good old days. True or false? Las cosas... Hang on a minute, I have to go to my translation here. Las cosas eran mejores en los viejos tiempos. And you guys said 100% false. Yeah, and as we've been talking, remember it was 71% at the top of the show. True. It's now 65. I think when we look at things rationally outside of the lens of social media and all that online noise, we do see that things are a lot better, don't we? Don't we? And as we protest against change and things happening that we don't necessarily agree with, the general flow of water is making things better for everyone. Except for, as Mike pointed out, or was it Mike or was it Mr. Cruthando? I can't remember. It was Mr. Cruthando. Except when it comes to income inequality or the cost of living or however you want to phrase that, it does seem to be the flow of water does disproportionately land more in the buckets of the wealthy than it does in the rest of us. But does that necessarily mean things were better back then? I think probably not. But all those, friends, all those are just opinions. And as Grandpa Bo used to say, opinions, they're like buttholes. Everyone has one, they all stink, including mine. Let's move on to today's 100 Humans. Oh my God. It was a long walk to work today across snow-capped mountains and through river valleys, and on that walk I encountered 100 humans and I asked them all a question. Today's question was, name something that makes someone nostalgic. Name something that makes someone nostalgic. I asked them that question, they gave me their answers. I'm in possession of the top 7 answers right here. Your job in the audience is to identify those top 7 answers. Name something that makes someone or people nostalgic. Nombra algo que hace que alguien sienta nostalgia. All right, Dan, kick us off.
Photographs?
Photographs. It's a good answer. Is photos there? Or fotos, as you would say in Spanish. Is photos there? Yes, it is, Dan. Well done, dude. 17 of 100 humans said photographs. It's in second place. Also, a big thank you to Pedro, Feno, Kitty, Juana Reo, Barandika, Anna Kasan, Ivan Samrov, Ivan GP, Zasu, or Thasufre. Thank you all, and all those people that I haven't read out. You are all superstars. Mike says music. Music. Or, maybe old songs, right? We did cover that. Canciones antiguas, or canciones, songs, music, música. Is it there? Yes, it is. Well done, Mike. Music is there. It's the number 1 answer. Look at you on fire. All right. What do we have? A smell that seems familiar. A smell, says Artemisa. A smell. Is a smell there? Un olor or olores, smells. Yes, it is. Well done, Artemisa. Let's take a look in the chat and see what they were saying. Pedro agreed with you on Instagram. He said music too. Scent, says Feno Kitty. They also say games. Games. What, games like childhood games, like toys and things like that? Juguetes. Is games or toys there? Yes, it is. Well done, you guys, dude. You guys. Good memories, says Vero. I can't give you good memories. I'm looking for things, not necessarily. Like tangible places, maybe. There is another form of media, not just songs and photos. There's another form of media that provokes nostalgia. I mentioned some when I was monologuing about the unpopular opinion today. But what was I talking about? Anyway, let's see. Playing on the street, says Thathu. Thathu Free. Or Thathu Free. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It says playing on the street. Great. I do remember that about being young. Playing out on the street. Oh. It's a great answer, but not there. Ivan GP says military service. Makes me feel nostalgic, while we. Ivan Samrov, music. Volar cometas. Do you know how to translate that into English, Dan?
Flying kite.
Flying. Give yourself a nivelazo, you.
Vaya nivelazo.
Flying kites. I think that falls under toys and games, doesn't it? That's from Barandika Instagram. Well done. Thank you for joining us. Anna Kasan. To think how they feel when they were younger. Yeah, well, that is nostalgia, isn't it, Anna? To remember loved ones, says Juan Arreo, and to remember childhood. Yeah, I need some more specific memories, just like Mia has given us here when she says, my childhood home. Casa de la Infancia. Is childhood home there? Yes, it is. Well done. Raj says, going to He says, going to his school. Going to his school. Raj says to go to his school. Colegio, school. Is school there? Yes, it is. Well done. Okay, there is one answer left to get, and I think I may have prompted you correctly. Mike here has an idea. There are other good ones. The food you used to eat, says Artemisa, that takes me back. That takes me back. When I think of my grandma's cooking. Or when I eat certain things that taste like things she'd make. Wowee. My mother's hometown, says Mr. Cruthando. But Mike here says one. He says, movies. Movies, películas. Is movies there? Yes, it is. Well done, friends. You have completed today's 100 humans. Well done. Good one, guys. All right, let's go through the list. I asked 100 humans to name something that makes someone nostalgic. Nombra algo que hace que alguien sienta nostalgia. In position number 7, we had movies, películas. 5 of 100 humans said that. In position number 6, colegio, school. School is there. 9 of 100 humans. In position number 5, we had games, juguetes, toys, juguetes. 11 of 100 humans said that one. In position number 4, when I asked 100 humans to name something that makes someone feel nostalgic, nombra algo que hace que alguien sienta nostalgia, we had smells. 15 said smells, olores. In position number 3, we had childhood home, casa de la infancia. Childhood home, 16 of 100 humans. In position number 2, photos is 17 said that. And finally, in position number 1, songs, canciones, música, music. Well done, friends. Look at that. Last day of the week and you guys completed the 100 humans. Look at you. You're on fire, friends. You're on fire. All right, guys, just a little housekeeping. There will be no lunchtime show today. But do stay tuned because you've got Fits coming up and also you'll be able to enjoy an amazing repeat of the lunchtime show, won't you? Probably one featuring me and Andrea together. That would be nice. All right, friends, thank you so much for this week. Have an amazing weekend and I'll see you next time.